All right, everybody. Welcome to episode 16 of Beyond the Court. I'm Sudsy. That's Ellie. And we got Scotty Mack in the background, always getting things done properly and doing what we need to do to make sure we bring, the latest racquetball news and what's going on and keep racquetball front and center while we get through this. Ellie, tonight's guest, possibly the GOAT of our sport.
Well, definitely the current GOAT. Obviously, Kane's the GOAT as well right now in a lot of people's minds. We share that thought as well. Obviously, there's other great men's players, but when it comes to the women's side, there's been great players, but there hasn't been a personality and celebrity like Paola Longoria, here in the United States, but certainly in Mexico and a lot of other Latin American countries. So I think this was a no-brainer in terms of who we wanted to have on this week, with her success in Vegas, and we'll talk about all that. But I recall seeing her for the first time when she was like 13, 14, 15, somewhere in there. I'm not quite sure, at US Open, winning pro matches and not even looking like it was a big deal. So she's been on this path for a long time, Suds.
Yeah, she's definitely, the titles and accolades obviously speak for themselves, but we're going to get into a lot about, what else goes on in her life outside and off the court or beyond the court for that matter. Hey. And, it's pretty incredible, and everybody watching. Paola plays on the LPRT, or, for us in the United States, it's about being a professional athlete. And you're going to learn tonight when you hear from Paola how important the international play is as well. But before we get started, we always have a little intro, and I know Ellie's anxiously awaiting it. This is a big week coming up here. Oh, cheers to that. Mm-hmm. This is my, I'm drinking a little chamomile tea. So
good for you. I'm having a White Claw.
As you should, buddy. So this is a big, this is a big week. Obviously, Tuesday is the election in the United States, and many of us are divided, and that's really unfortunate, and that sucks. But one thing that we're not divided in is racquetball. And, I promise you, and I know Ellie agrees, that no matter who wins, if your candidate wins or loses, we still want you to come back, and we still want you to, enjoy beyond the court. We're not going to unfriend you or block you, or, it's not about that. And I'm going to respect your opinion, and hopefully you'll respect everyone else's, and, and just be good humans, whatever the outcome is. We see a lot of this. I see cities all over. My hometown of New York City is boarding up, boarding up today. How did we get here? They're boarding up downtown New York City because of concerns of unrest of an election that's going to happen on Tuesday. I mean, it's, I'm living in Ecuador now, South America, and it touches even more. It touches me even more now because I'm watching this as a U.S. citizen, obviously, and I'm shaking my head that it's gotten to this. And I say it all the time, and I really do. It's about looking in the mirror, or in this case, we're looking in a camera. It's accountability, responsibility for your own actions, your own decisions. All right. And I hope everybody has a great week. Personally, I don't need to share with you who I hope wins or doesn't win. It's not going to change my life one way or the other in that moment. I'm still going to be buddies with Ellie. Ellie and I don't always agree on many things. But look, here we are, friends for almost 40 years. And we're certainly not going to let an election change our opinion. If the Yankees and Dodgers didn't do it, and many other things in our life, it's not going to, Tuesday's not going to affect our friendship. So, we hope that you and everybody out there watching also, takes that same approach. We're going to take a quick break here, and then we're going to come back with someone who might be the GOAT in our sport, but nobody really ever says that. Scotty Mack? Okay. All right. Well, here we are, everybody. We are with Paola Longoria. And, Paola, I don't think you heard me say it, but you might be the greatest of all time in our sport, man or woman. People don't realize how many different directions you're pulled in every day. And I'm going to get into that. But before we get into that, I really want to say thank you so much for being here, because I personally know how busy you are every day, but it's super important for the racquetball world to hear from you. So thank you for being here tonight.
No, it's I want to thank the for you guys invite me to this amazing talking. I admire and respect, and I have respect for both of you. You both are great athletes, great racquetball players, and of course, I have the chance to share great moments with both of you in tournaments, and I'm very very happy to be here with both of you talking about my career and how's racquetball growing on my life.
Yeah, we're definitely going to get into that, Paola. So, it feels weird because, people that are watching don't know, but I call you hermana and you call me
Yeah.
hermana. So I'm going to call you Paola tonight. And it just feels weird. I don't know. But, Paola, people don't know, us gringos are in the United States, and we don't understand, I understand personally because we have a relationship. And of course, you're very close with my wife, but you're the busiest professional racquetball player in the history of our sport. And it's not even close. You're pulled in a million different directions. And again, we're going to get to a lot of the things you do off the court, but most people just know you as a kick-ass champion that wins every single tournament you enter, which we'll get to. But the life you have off the court is so demanding. And how do you do it?
Discipline, that's the word, and passion. I think those both works help me a lot on my day. It's been after 7 months not playing, and with this coronavirus and all that stuff, it was like a lot of stress for me because we are like we know my life with it's been like tournament back to back every weekend, and for some reason it stopped for 7 months. And when I played the outdoor in Vegas, it was kind of great because for me it was I really want to feel the competition again, to have the nervous, to be back on a court, even if it was not the regular indoor that I play. It was fun to compete and to, as I say, to have those feelings when I'm playing. But off the court, it's been really nice. It's been like crazy weekends for me, a lot of campaigns right now, a lot of different trips that I've been making. And for me, it was kind of cool because I tried to develop kind of the same part, my racquetball career, with sponsors, with campaigns, promoting racquetball. Yesterday, I went to Aguascalientes, which is a city close to San Luis Potosí, and they built 3 courts. They want to do a grand slam for the next year, and trying to grow my racquetball school there. They put my name on those courts, and that is why I really want to live to racquetball when I decide to retire. It's kind of growing a history on the back of Paola Longoria, because I personally think that in the future, racquetball will be an Olympic sport. I'm very, I have a lot of contacts on the Olympic commitment with the Pan Am Sports. I've been working really close on the board, and probably could be in 8 years, but that's what I really want to live to racquetball. My schools, a lot of kids in Mexico is growing a lot. The Mexican Federation is promoting really well the racquetball in different states. So it's not easy. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of discipline. It's a lot of passion, but it's a lot of trying to connect with the people that support the sports. And that is kind of cool because for some reason I meet random people that love sport. And in Mexico, they really love racquetball. I think racquetball is giving a lot of medals in different competitions, Central American Games, Pan Am's, Worlds, the Tour, and everything. So they believe that racquetball is the future too in Mexico, like as a sport.
That's interesting. Hi, Paola. It's nice to hear your voice. It's nice to see you. Congratulations on everything in Vegas, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But I think this is an interesting direction to start with what you're doing outside of the court, along with, training and preparing for when you're back to indoor racquetball or even more outdoor racquetball. But, your inside knowledge of what's happening. You mentioned something right off the bat that I didn't know we would go this direction right off, but the Olympics in Los Angeles in 8 years, correct? And so, with some inside knowledge, what is it going to take? Where's the USA have to become a part of that as well? Or to make this a reality, since it is an Olympics that's slated for Los Angeles here in the United States and California. And so, you know, what role does that have to that play in it, and then other Latin American countries along with what's happening in Mexico?
Yeah. Hey, John. It's great to see you again. It's been a while.
Yep.
As I say, when we begin this interview, I lived with your family for a year in Stockton, California, and it brings me a lot of memories. It's kind of when I start and when I decide to put all the coins on the pocket and see maybe in the future I can be number one. So, as the question you ask is, it's a lot of different ways that we've been working with the Olympic commitment. They want to change the rules. They want to change the score. They want to change the way we play the racquetball, kind of doing as a squash, like no side outs. It's been a lot of talking with that, and they want to try to change it to 21 instead of 15 or 11. So they're trying to see if doing those change maybe it could be more easy for the TV and for the people to understand more our sport. It's a lot of things going on. It's not like 100% they're going to change it, but they're trying to see if the Olympic commitment will work with that. So right now we have a big homework to do because racquetball is not a real right now committed to be in Pan Americans in Santiago, Chile in 2024. So that's our best homework for us right now. And as a part of the board of the Pan Am Sports, I'm working really close with the president of the Pan Am Sport to try to get back racquetball as a Pan Am sport. It's been a lot of years there. And for us, it really hurts a lot for not being in Pan Am's trying to be an Olympic sport. So that's our best deal right now for the couple next years. But what you say USA need to do is to promote the same way that we do it in Mexico with the kids, with the juniors. I think they need to develop some schools or like a junior program in different cities where they can go with universities, with the schools or high schools. That is what I'm doing right now in Mexico. And with these public courts that they built in different cities, trying to see if like there's like a class here in Mexico named Educación Física, which is talks about doing sport or exercise in the day 1 hour. And I'm trying to put in that class, instead of doing just running or different activities, just be a racquetball class. So we can get more kids, we can try to bring more girls or guys or kids to play racquetball. That's why it needs to do USA in the USA Racquetball Association in the States. And there's a lot of things that we can do. And, you know, growing my tournaments every year, doing a Grand Slam and trying to put like the portable court in different areas where we can bring more people to get interested in racquetball, that is helping us a lot. Because in Mexico, years ago, it was kind of cool that they know, oh, Paola Longoria, yeah, racquetball. But what is racquetball? What is that sport? So right now, everybody knows that I'm playing in a racquetball courts, kind of their rules, the equipment that they need to use. So that is helping us a lot to get more people involved in this sport. So I think there's a lot of things, but more about junior programs.
Yeah, Paola, you know, it's incredible just listening to you, because I even, you know, we talk often and I hear all these things you're doing and I'm like, it's just nonstop. And then in addition to being the best player in the world, and obviously what that takes, the physical commitment, the discipline, the training, you know, you're doing so many things. And I'm just going to read a couple of things, you know, that maybe some of the viewers know or don't know. But number one, you know, you're the most decorated racquetball player in the history of the sport. You know, when it comes to indoors, outdoors, international, nobody, you know, I think you can put myself and Cliff and Kane together and we don't have all the titles you have. And that's not a lie. That's probably actually very accurate, you know, combined with the international stuff too. But I just want to go through a few of the things that, you know, you deserve credit for. And it's super important that all of you racquetball players in the racquetball world understand and get this. You know, I'm going to tell a quick story. About 4 or 5 years ago, I was in Mexico and I was having lunch with Javier Moreno and Alvaro. And, you know, I said to Javi, I said, how famous is Paola? Because, you know, she's mi hermana. So I don't, you know, how we're in Mexico, Ellie. I don't know if you know this story. And Javier, you know, with his hand, he's like, dude, you have no idea. Everybody knows her. I'm like, come on. He goes, ask somebody. So a waiter walks by. I said, hey, senor, in Spanish, of course. I said, do you know who Paola Longoria is? Of course I do. I'm walking, now I'm having fun with it. You know me, I'm walking down the street and there's like a taxi driver. I'm like, hey, you ever hear of Racquetball? Yeah, Paola Longoria. I'm like, all right, this is fantastic. So that is super important to Racquetball worldwide. And the more it comes over into the US, the better. But anyway, check this out, everybody that's watching. Paola, do you know how many Facebook followers you have on your athlete page?
No. Tell me.
1.4 million.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, 1.4 million. And you're not following anybody, by the way, so go follow me when you're done with this.
Okay, I will.
You have 0 followers, but you have 1.4 million followers, all right? Instagram, 333,000 followers. Twitter, 285,000 followers. So folks, racquetball players out there and racquetball world, we're talking to somebody that could influence our sport like nobody else on the planet. Now, here are some of the things that you don't get credit for because we just see the medals and titles and accolades, all right? And Veronica and I were talking about this, and it's so important. You're the only player I know in the history of the sport to bring a Grand Slam event, an LPRT, the biggest event they can have, and you're the #1 player in the world. I mean, I know Ellie, when he was playing and competing, he brought events to Stockton. I know I brought 1 or 2 to New York, but you actually build them and they're yours. You have a portable court. You have a contract with Nike. You carried the Olympic torch. Like, does racquetball know that? So when Paola talks about this stuff, she knows what she's talking about. This one's kind of cool. And just tell everybody about this one too. What's with the Army? You're in the Army, right? Like they gave you an honorary. So how did that work?
It was kind of cool because it's been like 9 years on the Army, and probably some people know and others not, but I just went to do like an opening ceremony on, the name is Sedena here, which is like the name of the Army. They build racquetball courts inside for the Army. So I remember I was in a tournament with my little brother, Christian, I think Leon. And my older brother just called me and say like, I received a call for people from the Army and they want you to fly tomorrow to go and do the open ceremony for a racquetball court there. And I was like, with the Army, me? And I said, no way. And they say, okay, but the biggest thing is like, I need to bring somebody that you can play as an exhibition game. And everybody's like, for me right now, I can't find somebody. So I say, I'm gonna go and play with you, my older brother. And I say, all right, whatever. He went with me. We went to be like this open ceremony. We do an exhibition game and everything. And the next day, the main guy from the Army just invited us to have breakfast with his family. So we were just, sharing the table, talking and all these memories. And then he asked me, so you want to be a part of the Army? And I was hitting my brother like on the leg, like, what the fuck? I don't know what to answer really. And I say, Edgardo, I was so nervous. And then my brother was like, okay. What she needs to do? Like, what you mean be a part of the Army? And then he said, okay, guys, don't put that face because we both freak out. Like, okay, yeah, man, the Army shooting or something like that. I was just imagining something like that.
Like you're going to war.
Yeah, on a war or something. And then the main guy said, no, there's like a program with athletes that they represent us and they have the same value, on the sports, and they kind of the same rules for the Army. Like, the best thing is to be and put our country as the priority. And you always do, traveling, competing, the national anthem and all that stuff. So I say, oh, that's kind of cool. What I need to do? Or it's gonna be cool because there are some benefits. Of course, they pay me like every month certain amount, but they give me security. They give us help for me and my family, like my parents, and they provide every time that I'm flying to even USA or another country, like security. They know where I am, which flight I am in.
Right, we've talked about that. Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
And all that security, which is kind of cool, in this crazy world, we never know. So
especially certain parts of Mexico. I'm only rolling, and I've rolled with you in Mexico. And
I know. But yeah, it was interesting. And then I was trying to talk with the main guy and develop something for racquetball there. And it's kind of cool that the Army have racquetball courts. They support a lot of the athletes. They gave us the possibility of have like every range. Is that the word? Like every the level,
rank.
sorry,
Yep.
yeah, the rank. And you get another rank if you win Pan American Games, gold medals for Worlds, Olympic. There's a lot of Olympic athletes there in that program too, and it depends what you win that you get a better rank. For me, it was kind of cool because I started as a soldier, and every year I've been like improving. So it's kind of cool. I love and I really respect that the army, and they support me a lot. And Christian is on the program too. I have the possibility to bring him, and there's a lot of discipline between army and the sports, and you need to follow some rules too.
Very similar. Ellie, I know. Go ahead, Ellie.
Yeah, I mean, that's incredible information. This is stuff that most people do not know, and people who follow you closely and watch your matches every time possible, Paola. But this is just incredible information. And I've seen that you've met the president of Mexico. You're personal friends with the first lady of Mexico. Mike, I'm curious. Have you been receiving any opportunities? You've been on TV, and I've seen that interviews and doing stuff on TV. But have you had any opportunities for motion film, for doing motion pictures, and really kind of getting your feet wet in that area? And are you interested in something like that?
Yeah, I was, I didn't share too much, a lot of info for this, but this year I was thinking with all the Corona and all that stuff, I received 4 offers to be part of the government already. And I was kind of, I don't know what was like the best scenario for racquetball, after this pandemic and all that stuff. And I was just talking with my parents and say, you guys know that if it's time to me to just retire and go and stay and start this opportunity for the politics stuff and all that stuff. And it was a big decision for me. I was kind of go back and forward with some of the sponsors. Some of them support me, some of those, political is some stuff that some brands don't support, and some brands, they don't care. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna probably wait to try to see if I can make racquetball to be on the Pan Am Sports, and maybe after Chile I retire. That is kind of the scenario that I'm working for. And I was talking with Nike, and my contract, thank God, is from USA, and they have different rules and different points that they want me to keep playing. And as I say, I kind of want to grow more this sport in Mexico, have this live, all what I've been working for many, many years to the new generations. I would love to, at the time that I retire, I see like opportunity for a Mexican guy or woman to be number 1, 2, with all the stuff that I already left. So I kind of see the scenario for me like that. But in the future, I would really want to be the main girl from manage the whole sports in Mexico. That is the big position that I wanted. But maybe not sports. They want me in another areas. They just offer me good things. So I'm just thinking about maybe in 2 years.
Listen, I say it all the time, and I am not kidding. You might be president of Mexico. So, and listen, for any of you watching,
that's no
I'm
joke.
not kidding. I tell Paola all the time, I'm like, I'm going to be your gringo security or something. But she could be. You're looking at possibly a presidential candidate one day, if that's the route she wants to go. No joke. But Paola, Ellie, one of the things he did ask you though, any offers to be in like any movies, like in una película or something like that, like any?
No, they want to do a movie of my life, and I'm working
just
right
that. Just a movie of my life.
Small little one.
Tiny
yeah,
one.
but I kind of focus more right now on my book. I start, writing the book, and it's a lot of work because I think I still have a lot of memories to bring to all these kids and all new generations. But I want to share a little bit that for me was really kind of nice, and it was a project for this year, and thank God it's working for the next year too after this Corona. But for me as a kid, my role model was like, the Barbie doll. And I received the offer to do a mini Paola Longoria doll for Barbie.
Are you going to do it?
they will do it this year before Olympics, and it was a surprise. And we, of course, they stopped this project, but they told me that they will go and do it for the next year. So for me, it's kind of cool, like, being an adult for a brand that means for a lot of, like, really little kids and girls, that, when you grow up, it's like, oh yeah, I want a Barbie doll or something like that. And
Awesome.
they told us, like, okay, we want to pick 3 girls for sports that represent something for the kids, and they do
Great.
like about the people can vote, the kids and girls, and most of the girls ask for myself.
How
So
how old are you now? How old are you now?
how what?
How old are you now?
31.
31. Okay.
Yeah.
It's incredible. It's incredible. I can't wait for Jules to get one of those Barbie dolls. But
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a 12-year-old daughter who really admires you. She plays racquetball. She's really looking forward to seeing you play live and in person. She may have saw you when she was a little girl and doesn't remember it, but she's looking forward to it. She's in tune now. She has ideas about playing you, and certainly the Perez family out here, and how good that their kids play racquetball, and they admire you beyond anybody I know out here, to be honest. So that's really cool. And wow, I mean, what opportunities you have in front of you, and so many possibilities. So, this congratulations on that. That's incredible. I think back because I saw you play the US Open when you were young. I think you were 14, but correct me if I'm wrong. You were winning matches at the US Open. I think you maybe made the quarters even, something like that. And, when I was looking at you one time after your match, it was on the backcourts there in Memphis, and you won a match, and it didn't even look like it was a big deal, where others around the crowd were kind of whispering and talking about you. And I was just gonna, like, it's not a big deal. She expected to win that match. And that was the first time I tuned in to you and said, this girl is special here. This is an incredible player. And then from there, you win the Pan Am championships in Guatemala, and you dominate the US team for sure in Canada. And it was off and running from that point. But if that never happened, as you're younger, what did you think you would do besides playing racquetball professionally? I mean, what other aspirations did you have for your life going forward if racquetball didn't become what it is?
uh, you asked something really special, John, but I think since I started in racquetball career, I was mixing, I play basketball, soccer, I swim, I was a cheerleader, I do gymnastics and mix it up with racquetball. But as you say, when I was probably 14 or 15, I didn't realize like I was gonna be number one. I remember like when this scenario comes to my mind, it was when I turned 18, that I was finishing the high school. And at that time, I was like just focused on the sports, but I was not looking like, oh yeah, this is gonna be like kind of my work or my passion, racquetball. I was doing more like, okay, competition for junior worlds, for all the kind of the Olympic that we have here in Mexico, that it was like mean a lot to win like a gold medal for your city, and they paid us as a juniors for that. So that was kind of my big deals. But when I turned 18 and I won for first time the US Open, then I realized, holy shit, I'm beating the girl, and it was Ronda and Cheryl Gudinas. I beat both of them. That meant a lot for racquetball. So I can be number one. That's when I decided and told with my parents that it was the opportunity to go and start playing more the tour, and your parents host me in Stockton. And it was not easy for me because at that age I was kind of have like a normal life as my friends. They invite me obviously like to hang out. I turned 18, kind of the big age here in Mexico. We want to go to nightclubs, parties, and everything. And I decide to not do that, and just go and live my dream to try to be number one. And I left to USA, like another country. But that helps me a lot to grow up and have a lot of experience and mature, that understand more what needs to be number one. I remember I trained a lot with Jesse. I remember your dad like pushed me like really hard, like you can be number one, you need to work like this, you need to train. And I think I grow up with a lot of discipline that right now I'm used to do that. There's a lot of people that say, I don't understand how you travel, how you go on stream a campaign, then interviews, and then you have energy to train. And I say, it's that, of course, I know it's hard, but I'm already meant to do that because I grew up with that discipline since I was not kidding 8 years. So it's a lot of work to be number one, and I've been in both sides, not be number one, and right now that I am there, And it cost me a lot to get to that point. It's a lot of, you know, I lost a lot of times. I was crying. I was even sometimes I don't believe I can be number one. I only think after I win in the US Open one time when I was 18 and then I don't win again, I say maybe it was lucky. It was luck for me that I won that tournament. But then my parents were like, I have a family that support me a lot, that believe in me, that push me a lot. Like, don't even throw the towel. You can do it. You admire Michael Jordan. My mom and my sports psychologist sent me a lot of books for Michael Jordan at that time, and it motivates me a lot to understand like what needs to be or how you can be number one and all the stuff that is behind, you know, the success.
Hear
So
that? Does everybody hear that? See, that's a true GOAT speaking about another true GOAT. So you LeBron fans, and no, I'm just kidding. I don't want to start another battle here. But yes, Jordan is the GOAT. You know, Paola, you've been playing for so long now. So what are some of the major changes that you've seen in racquetball, you know, as a sport, you know, since you started playing full time, you know, at 17, 16, 17? You know, what are some of the different things, the good and the bad? You know, we like to keep it very real. We don't, you know, we don't want it to just be all
no,
unicorns and rainbows. So
no, the good thing that I really respect from our tour and of course the racquetball community, I'm gonna speak more for the girls because that's the tour that I
for
play.
sure.
But the thing here is like the competition is much better. The way you see my other, like the other players train, prepare, it really motivates me to keep, you know, with the discipline that I have, or to keep training hard because I know they want my place. They want to be number one. They want to beat me. So that competition makes me to work harder. But probably years ago, the, you know, like the physique, the condition where the players train was not the same as the way everybody prepare right now. That's the biggest change that I see in racquetball on the women's tour. You know, for me, it's hard every time I go and play the first game. It's like a final for me because everybody wants to beat me or everybody wants to give everything to play the number one, because that happens to me when I was not number one. Every time I go and be on a court with Rhonda, with Cheryl, with Christy Van Hees, that at those times they were number one, I really want to beat them. I want to work to beat them. So I understand both positions. I love the way the tour is growing as having more tournaments, putting more money for the women's. I respect a lot the way every commissioner that is being on the tour grow up like our tour. And I think that's at this part of the tour, well, before the pandemic, it was really, really strong. So about racquetball in Mexico, as I say, I've been watching a lot of future for women's because there is a lot of girls and kids that want to play racquetball. So that's what I was trying to see and building more like public courts in different states to get more kids involved in this sport. Well, we're not gonna lie to the people. Of course, we are not close to tennis. We're not even close to golf or all other tours that are really, really strong. But what we can do is trying to see the tour with, let me try to find the perfect word because I don't want anybody to have hair broken or something.
Don't, no,
But
nobody's going to be heartbroken.
no, no, no.
Yeah.
But this is like a job. Somebody before we start playing, probably the girls before, they don't even see the tour as a job. They were like, oh yeah, it could be a time to go and see
But
my
that's
friend.
because you're a professional. You treat it like, see, that's the mentality that when you retire, you can teach these kids or
Yeah,
some of the girls. You treat it like a job. It's your profession,
yeah.
and nobody
Not
does it
only,
better.
that, but for me it was kind of cool to understand that part, and that's why I decided to change the tour in a different direction. I'm gonna do a grand slam. I'm gonna try to put more money for the girls, because what I can do, and I can be really selfish and say like, I just bring two girls to an exhibition game
Sure.
and we
Hmm.
just share the money and I decide who will be paid. No,
Hmm.
I really want to help the women on the tour. I try to put like a nice event, put the portable core. Sometimes I can go with some sponsors and get some stuff for the players, and sometimes I can't because, of course, it's not like an obligation for me. And sometimes I have that problem with those girls that I decide to stop doing that, because then after they think it needs to be an obligation for me to have an event and then pay some stuff for them. No, this is a job. And the job is like, you get the money if you win, or it depends on the place you get, right? But what I'm doing is trying to see, okay, we are playing for a fair amount of money. We're trying to get television on those tournaments. We're trying to build more portable, portable and public courts. So that's that was one of my goals in racquetball. And I think if I retire at this point, I am very happy of what I'm doing and what I do for our sport. I can do more, yes. They put me on the board for Pan Am Sports, and it's a lot of work, trust me. A lot of meetings, a lot of things. I remember when I was doing this on the pandemic, the stuff that you put us to do, push-ups and
The
the
challenge. Yeah,
challenge.
yeah,
I remember I was doing like the plank, and I was taking a meeting for the
yeah.
Pan Am Sports.
You
No,
were
no,
literally on a phone call.
I was on the phone.
People don't
Yeah,
realize that.
no,
You were
right like
competing
that.
on the phone.
Yeah. And it's kind of cool because at the end, I know that's going to help racquetball. Why? Because I told you, they want to leave us from Chile, and it will hurt a lot racquetball if we're trying to be on the Olympics in a.
Talk, Paola, talk a little bit about that. I don't think Ellie knows, and I'm sure a lot of the viewers don't know. For many of you that don't know, the Pan American Games is the biggest event that racquetball has. And Paola, correct me if I'm wrong. It's the biggest event for international racquetball in the world. It's every 4 years. It's second to the Olympics as far as international competition. We as a sport, racquetball has been in it, and there's Ellie's gold medal, which we have together.
Yeah.
We've been in it since that year, 1995, in Buenos Aires, Argentina, and we've been in it every 4 years. Now, Paola, what's going on? Because I do hear there's some talk about us not being in this next one, which would be the first time since 95.
A lot, it depends in every country, but Chile doesn't have too much racquetball. So the main guy, the president of the Pan Am Sport, decided to quit racquetball and most of the racket sports, squash, fronton, and all that stuff. But we're trying to fight with all of them and told them that they have racquetball courts already in Chile, so they don't need to invest in more. They just need to invest in trying to put it in a good form for us to compete. And it would be less money instead of build like 4 courts that the way they do in Peru. So we're trying to give a lot of possibilities to bring racquetball to Chile, but it doesn't depend like for the athlete. Depends what the Pan Am commitment decide and what the Pan Am president decide to put racquetball there. It's like a fight, but for us will hurt a lot. As you say, this is the second biggest competition for us. Like the first is Olympic, then Pan Am's, and then Central American Games. So that's the period that works for every sport. For us, it will help us a lot to be on the Olympic in 8 years, but not being in Chile, it hurts so bad. Trust me, it's kind of racquetball going like years back on this sport.
It's very interesting. There's so many different directions that the conversation's already taking my mind, that I hope I can remember some of the good questions that I want to ask, because a lot of the questions I have on the paper in front of me here, this is more interesting than some of the stuff for me right now. And there's one time that the Pan Am's wasn't in it, when it was in Brazil, and I think 2003 in that area, but it has been in for a while. So we hope that happens. It's a must for Chile to happen. And they do have a history of racquetball there with obviously Angela and Pablo and some others that go back even farther. But I'm confident and hopeful that will happen. And so best wishes on that. But when you talk about being able to bring portable courts, Grand Slam events to your home country and to various cities, now, I mean, you're talking about sponsors now. Are you representing yourself with the sponsors? And I know you're in conversation, but do you have an agent that's helping you along with all this? Or are you doing the work yourself and just grinding away and having all these communications on your own?
I decide not to have a manager, because in Mexico, that word means a lot of different ways. And it decides that you need to have these friendships. You can talk to that guy or to that girl. They can manage your life. I don't like that. I have a normal life. I have a lot of respect for my family, and they help me a lot. So sometimes I remember I only got an agent for negotiating a contract with a bank because I don't have idea how much I need to charge for them. But Chicharito, the soccer player, helped me to like he offered me his agent to help me to negotiate that contract.
Wow.
So it was kind of cool. But at this time, I do all the work, and it's awesome because when I have the chance to meet all these sponsors in person, it brings me the opportunity to in the future grow my own marketing company. That's what I'm looking for after I
Right.
retire, because I have these contacts. I There is some Olympic athletes that came to me and say how you do it. Even I'm an Olympic athlete, how I can go with this brand and get the sponsor. I don't know. Thank God, it puts me on the good time, on this, like, good place to deal with these contacts. And it's kind of cool. It's about you go and talk, knock the door, and it can open. Yeah, it can open or not. It depends. It can go both ways, but I always decide to take the risk and write an email or just give a call. Of course, it helps me a lot because more people in Mexico recognize my career and they know more about racquetball. Before it was kind of hard. I remember, and I have a lot like this history that I want to share. My goal was to get Coca-Cola as a sponsor. And I remember I just wrote emails and I just received like, no, we're not interested in racquetball. No, we're not looking right now for this sport. And after I won the 3 gold medals in Guadalajara in 2011, it was kind of cool how the life brings you some stuff that it's meant to be. And I got a call from Coca-Cola. Hey, we want you to be the image for Powerade Zero, to be on the bottle, to stream a commercial.
Wow.
So I say, life is like that. You just go and take the risk and knock the door, and for some reason doesn't open, maybe in the future. And I share this history because for me it was not easy to get all the sponsors that I have. It's not easy to go and deal with people that have tons of money, that they want to work the way they want it for them, and some of them don't understand your schedule. And some of them things like, oh, because I already sponsor you, you are 24 hours for me, 24/7 for me. No, because I'm an athlete, I have to train, I have a life, and sometimes it's hard to deal with them. But for me it was hard because I don't have an agent. I decided to do it myself. But I learned a lot that right now, that's another goal that I want to do it, just create my own marketing company to represent athletes in the future.
Yeah, I mean, next time, Paola, you can just say, "Hey, check out my Barbie doll," or "Oh, the movie that they did about me." I mean,
Or the
it's just
book, try
incredible.
it.
You're so driven and motivated. It's just awesome to hear this stuff. It's just amazing. But I'm gonna ask you. This is a tough one, and you can answer however you want. What is the most difficult thing, about being you right now, today in your life? I know you get pulled in so many different directions, and everybody wants to be your best friend, and everybody wants this or that, or and like and you're still so focused and you're disciplined on doing what you're doing. What is the most difficult thing about being you right now, especially in Mexico?
Sats, I want to share this history because so many people doesn't know what is behind my life. Some people only know what they see on the media, on the social, that I post. But I remember the first 3 years that I was number one. I started receiving a lot of, what's the front pages from magazines, a lot of interviews, a lot of awards in really nice, that means a lot in Mexico. So for me, it was kind of cool that I say, holy shit, I just got this or been in this position for racquetball, for being number one. And I remember that there was a year that I was more focused on, oh yeah, I'm going to that event. I'm going to go for this photo shooting. I'm going to be the main page from this magazine. I'm going out with some like athletes that are really recognized in Mexico. So it was kind of living that life that at that time I decided to live it, but I forgot what it brings me to that life. And I want to share because nobody probably knows that part of myself. And it was the part when I lost my in Stockton, when I have the 152 games consecutives that I was in like no losing for 3 years and 8 months. But at that time I was not mixing very well, like photo shootings, campaigns, events, social, friends, family. It was really, really hard. But I think I leave that part to bring me the part that I'm right now. I right now more focused on what you say. I know there's a lot of people that's gonna come and try to be my best friends, and I don't even probably knows for 2 or 3 days. Trust me. But I've been like I still with my friends from since I was in no kidding in kindergarten, middle school, high school. I understand in this life there is some friends that will join on your trip or in this life and they can go. I just been in relationships that brings me or gives me a lot of good things, but there is a part or position when I decide to just broke up because they were not in the same line as myself. It's really hard to get at that part to get a guy that understand where I am or support me or understand the kind of life that I have. So those are the little things that maybe can change my life right now, but I have a family that really brings me back or where I need to be. And that motivates me a lot to keep very disciplined, very passionate in what I'm doing, very, dreaming big, but in a nice direction in what things that I'm doing right now that gonna help me in the future. I decide to study a master's in political science because in the future I want to be on that position.
The
So
president.
I give, every step with a plan, and probably works, probably not, but it depends on myself how I want to grow up. Of course, in the future, I want to get married, I want to have kids, I want to, of course, have a family. But I think at this part of my life, everything that is happening is working for a reason. And I think I still have too much things to do in this life, too much things to put for racquetball in and bring some good things for this sport. I was in Aguascalientes yesterday, and I don't imagine of being there with a lot of people with the 3 courts that they built. I was talking with the main guy of the city, and the guy say, just bring another Grand Slam here to Aguascalientes. I say, fuck. And I say, really? And I say, yeah, for sure. Let's do it in April. So I was like, wow. And I say, yeah, just put your name on that tournament again. And we put it on the main fair. We just I need to go to Aguascalientes in 2 months and check the space where we're going to put the portable court. And of course, that's going to bring us more kids or more people that's going to be interested in racquetball. That's the way to grow the sport.
Yeah, more exposure for sure. And while you're doing all that, you're still kicking ass, which is incredible. I know, Paola, Ellie has a list. Maybe I'll send it to you like tomorrow. I'll text it to you. He's got so many questions. He hasn't even gotten to them, but I promise you, we're going to let you go in like 5 or 6 minutes here. But I know we're enjoying this, but we can't keep you all night. And where's the dog? Because Scotty Mac just texted me. He wants to see the puppy. He wants to see.
Hey, Mika, come on. Here.
And Mika's got the costume on, right? So everybody wants to see what's the costume for Halloween.
Hey, oh my goodness.
There you go, Scott.
Say hi, I'm Mika.
We see Mika a lot on. Mika's also famous. Mika, you know what? When you make the Barbie doll, tell them that you want Mika as a dog.
Mika there.
Yeah, they have all the accessories. Like Jules gets the doll, they have rackets.
No, I love Yorkies, and I not have only Mika. I have 4 more.
So then you got to have 4.
You need to go and follow my Instagram, PL Yorkies, which is like they have an account for them, and it's kind of cool. I just created, and I just post pictures from my puppies, and I just start getting some brands to sponsor them. So it's kind of cool,
Sudsy, have the info on how many followers are on that for the next time we have Paola on, because quite honestly, if we're limiting this conversation, there's so much more to talk about with the on-court, with outdoor. I don't want to go anywhere, just so everyone is clear. I want to stay here for a while and have this conversation. But you brought up the moment in Stockton that your streak came to an end. That was honestly one of the hardest moments I've ever had as a tournament director, to have to give you the mic. And of course, Rhonda played great. It was a great win for her, and she was she was going to get the mic second, but you were getting the mic first, and you could feel it, I'm sure, with me, and I could feel it with you right when I said, spoke about the streak for a second, but then, you handled it with such class, both in English and in Spanish, right there. And we have a high Spanish speaking clientele here in our club. So they appreciate that as well. But from there, you went on another streak, and I don't know how long it was, but it was another great streak, which is obvious in my mind, and so, that I just wanted to let you know that was one of the toughest moments I've ever had in racquetball as a non-player, as a director of an event. And I thought you just handled it beautifully that time. And, we're talked a little bit for a second there about conditioning, about physical conditioning and being ready. And that's what's changed in the women's racquetball game over the years that you've been on tour. And everyone sees the photos of you with your shoulder and arm just, looking like just awesome, ripped out of its mind as you're getting ready to take a forehand swing, and they catch those photos and you just look incredible. I mean, you're so strong right now and so fit. What are you doing? What secrets can you talk about that you want to give that really is your emphasis on conditioning? And yeah, somebody's going to say, and you guys have that similar understanding of being number one, but I know so many people would like to know, like, where is your emphasis? What do you really work on more than other things?
I'm going to interrupt.
Answer that question for me.
I'm going to interrupt, and I'm going to say this, first of all, and this is no lie. I mean, I think we've been at dinner together, like literally at dinner. And Paola's like, oh, I got to go work out. I'm like, you got to do what? I'm like, and then she'll be playing in this major international competition, and the athletes get days off, and she's like in the weight room, and I'll walk in, I'll see her, and I'm just shaking my head. I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, oh, I got to go. So, but if you want to give up, what you're doing fitness wise, I never give up any of those secrets, until
now, until you're on.
Paola, just fake it, just say what everybody wants to hear. Oh, I work out 7 days a week. I eat, salads and.
Yeah, I know. But no, in a nice way. Okay, first, John, as you say, it was really tough for me at that moment to talk. And I think those things helped me a lot to grow up when I lost with Rhonda. And I really admire her as a player and as a person. She acted really nice that day. Even she broke that stroke for me. So it was hard, but at that time, I know in sport, sometimes you can win, sometimes you can lose. I prefer to win, of course. I'm very competitive, but those probably losses that I have on my career help me to grow up and to get more experience on what I need to every time work more on my game. Right now with the pandemic, I focus a lot in training in a different way. And I'm not gonna lie, I always train around 4 to 5 hours every day. And on the pandemic, I decided to train only 3 hours. Why? Because I don't have racquetball courts at that time. They allow me, it's been probably a month and a half or two to already enter to a court. But I was focusing in, working on the injuries that I had before that probably people don't know, but being in the level that all of us, we compete one day, you guys understand this, you know, play every weekend, probably back to back. It means a lot of pressure, but a lot of hard work to your body. So I start feeling and to have like a injury on my shoulder that I might need to get the surgery. And I remember before the US Open, I was not 100% to play that tournament because I have the worst pain in my life. And after the pandemic, during the pandemic, my personal trainer decided to work on, getting strong in those areas. And it was my shoulder. That's why when you see that picture trying to do my forehand, you can see a lot of the muscles that are on the rotator cuff. And he put me to train a lot of weights, but not with a lot of weights. I'm not the person that train, and I respect every athlete that trains different ways, and every girl and guy have their different trainings. But for me, I don't like to really go and try to do like kind of, lift weights so hard and all that. So it's not the way I train. So I honestly can't share because I have, not really in a nice way, I have some stuff that my team doesn't allow me to share. And it's not because she doesn't want to talk about, no, it's about competition. It's about people that of course want to beat me, or people that are doing the same things as me, and I can do it because even I'm not a tennis player. Sometimes I go and watch some of Djokovic, Nadal, some of the girls that the works, and I say, wow, I want to do that. And then I send it to my personal trainer, and he say, no, because you are not a tennis player. So it's different things. Of course everything helps, but at this time, I'm just training more like 3 to 4 hours. I'm not like 25 years as I had it before. So I just need to go and be more, kind of more quality instead of quantity. Before, I can go harder and harder. And right now, it's not about, quantity, it's about quality, what I do on my trainings.
Yeah, that knowledge and that experience that you get over the years, it's amazing because here we are sitting with you, and you have all these titles and accolades, but there's no doubt that you're a better player today than you were 10 years ago, just because of the knowledge and the experience. And you touched on something, it's so true. Some of those losses and those big losses, and for any level out there watching, that's really where we learn, at the highest level. That's where we learn how to improve. A lot of times I tell the players I work with the same thing. I'm like, the only reason that I can guide you, or I can teach you, or give you this advice, is not because I'm better than you, in a way that is puts you beneath me, but it's because I've failed more than you. And those failures made me learn how to succeed. And, Paola, you touched that, and talking to you, it's incredible because all these, any junior player out there, especially in Mexico, all these girls, there's so much knowledge and information that you can share and help them. And having the ability to communicate that to them is going to make them great players off the court and better human beings, on the court, great players, but of course, better human beings off the court too. And, your ability to share that info whenever the time comes, because, I do believe that, racquetball definitely is not ready for you to leave. So don't you dare go. And it will always still be part of your life, no matter what you wind up doing as you come to your end of your career. Quite frankly, it's like sad to even think about, thinking about like you not being in racquetball, or Kane, or when Cliff left or whatever. And it sucks, and you're not
It was
going
very,
anywhere.
those feelings, of course. Yeah, I've been like dedicated for most of my life doing what I really love and what is my passion. And I remember one day having this conversation with the whole team before we left to Peru for Pan American Games. And I already received some of the political offers, and I sit down all the 6 persons of my team, and I remember Fran's face when I told her like, might be the last tournament, the last Pan American Games I play this my whole life after Peru. Nobody knows. Freaking Fran was crying like crazy, like, no way, you can't tell me
Franny cries
that.
when Starbucks messes up her,
I
anything
know, but
sensitive.
my sports psychologist, and I say to Fran, I remember, and I need to share this, and say, I might probably the time to quit. And after this Pan American Games, I might probably got the surgery for my shoulder. I don't know how it's gonna work and all that stuff. I don't know if I'm prepared to do like to stop for 8 to 9 months not playing racquetball will be hard for me. And life changed so easy. We never know that this pandemic and Corona will kills everybody the way it made it to the world. And it was like more for 4 to 5 months that I don't even touch a racquetball racket. And I was like, how life changed. And right now it's like I'm enjoying every time that I'm training, that I'm on a racquetball court, that I compete, been playing outdoor for me since a lot of years that I haven't do it, and go back and even feel the feelings when I'm competing, the nervousy, the passion that I put every time on a game, even if it was not indoor. It means for me competition, and I'm very competitive in all ways, and I never expect to beat Ronda. She play more outdoor. I don't have all these outdoor racquetball courts in Mexico, and I'm just going and enjoy the time. And remember, I was talking to you in Vegas, and I say, I don't know, even I was joking about the rules that I learned in that day. So it was fun. But at this part is, all the legacy that I want to leave to racquetball. And all, of course, in the future, I want to share on my book all these experiences. I want to share the way I train. I might probably, if I work on the project on my movie, it's going to be a lot of behind with all the team that can share all the histories, because I'm not an easy person, and you can go and talk to my team, and it's kind of cool the way, because I just want to tell them the success that is behind Paola is because of my family, of my team, and of my sponsors that came in this project and join, in this life, supporting my career. So it's 6 persons behind Paola Longoria, my sports psychologist, Fran, Edson, Nelson, my doctors, my therapist. Different minds, but same objective. Paola needs to keep being number one. And sometimes, Fran is more intense. Edson, that works with me in San Luis, is more, calm. But that mixing and combination works a lot. My sports psychology is more like, come on, let's go. And I remember when Fran and my sports psychologist share rooms, my sports psychologist always texts me, holy shit, she had too much energy. It's 8 o'clock in the morning and she already got to espresso. Oh my goodness. So it's funny. We have like tons of histories that, of course, I want to share with a lot of, the racquetball community. But that's the way you grow a family behind the family that you have. So I really respect and admire that some of them have family and they need to leave them to be on my corner, to be like to train with me, to dedicate some hours of the day, like trying to make me a better person, a better player, and improve my game. So it's kind of cool. I respect and I have a lot of love for all the people that is on my team and behind myself, that helped me to grow up and to be right now the person that I am.
Yeah, I mean, this is incredible, and I'm only going to ask you one more question because, I can keep going on and on. Let's, hopefully we can consider this part one of the conversation
Yeah,
with
sure.
you, and we'll get back together here in the future and get into a little bit more of the game and everything. But you did just play the outdoor event. You are able and capable of bringing big events to Mexico. So
Yeah.
do you have any do you have any desire to bring outdoor racquetball on a more prominent level to Mexico? And even if it's portable court, outdoor courts, is that interest you?
I honestly was not thinking in that because I don't play too much outdoor. It could be a great possibility. It wouldn't hurt to probably add that division on my Grand Slams. But it's hard because in Mexico we don't have a lot of promotion on outdoor racquetball tournaments. So they probably don't even know what is outdoor. Right now it's been, a great work with the Mexican Federation too, that they know more about racquetball. That of course outdoor would be easy to understand, but I was more focused on Grand Slams in indoor and just try to get the people the experience, to share time with all the players, to meet the players, to know the way I compete outside of Mexico and bring that experience to Mexico. It helps the little girls and the kids to be interested more in racquetball. So it's kind of cool because we put the portable court the first 2 years on the fair. So we give the people from San Luis and from Monterrey the possibility to know more about racquetball. And then we change it to the clubs because there's a lot of people that go on a club here in Mexico. Of course, I don't like the idea that racquetball is only on the private clubs, and that's why I developed another plan to build more public courts, and that's why I'm more focusing right now into bring the legacy to all the people and give them the opportunity to join this sport, even if they are not in a private club.
Describe what you mean by public courts for the U.S. Players and people here listening, because that's not a phrase that we use here in the United States
Okay.
much.
The thing here is like in Mexico, you need to pay to be in a private club.
Right.
That means like a certain amount, which it's a little high to be on those private clubs, and you can go and play racquetball at the time you want it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of people that they don't have the possibility to pay every month, a certain amount to go to those clubs. So that's why I decided to put it public courts where all the people don't need to pay every month to go and play racquetball. It's my school that I already have here in San Luis, 4 courts, and I already signed a contract with, right now here is SEP, which is the organization for education in all the schools. And I signed the contract before the pandemic, and we're gonna do, instead of being this class that I told you, which is Educación Física in Mexico, which means do exercise, running, soccer, basketball, we have a racquetball class. So we can bring more kids there, and they don't need to pay certain amount to go to my public school.
Wow, that's incredible. So people can just go to the courts and play.
Go to the courts and play, and I'm developed for, in the mornings, it's gonna be for all the schools, public schools, not private school, just public. And the person that are interested in know more about racquetball, or just to join an academy of racquetball, then I'm gonna open hours in the afternoon and do like Academy of Paola Longoria, which is the kids that love racquetball and wanna learn more about this sport.
Well, I'll say one thing, Suds, I'll say before I zip it for a little here is, the best outdoor players in the world right now reside in Mexico with yourself and with DLR and Alvi. And that's just reality right now. That's based on what we just saw. And there's some outdoor players, some one wall players, some 3-wall players, some long wall players that it's tough for them to grasp that right now because the longevity of outdoor racquetball in your lives isn't there. But the proof is in the pudding. The proof is in what we just saw in Las Vegas last week. And that's the reality of it. So, everything right now that's happening with racquetball, with you, with Mexican racquetball, has just been a long time coming. And for you, it's been something that I've saw at a young age, at 14, 15, and said, this is the future of racquetball right here. And obviously that was one reason why Echelon went and signed you for a little while there, is because you were that good at that young age. So you might not have had all the belief, and their doubts creeped in, but there's a lot of people who really believe that you were going to be where you are today. And that's just credit to you and your work ethic, and congratulations on that.
Oh, thank you, John. I really appreciate it. And you probably, as you mentioned, you saw me growing up in my career a lot. I remember to play and go and train with you, and the way I trained with Jesse, which was like, oh my goodness, insane workout, like for 8 to 9 hours per day. It gives me, of course, the experience to know that right now, if I train 9 hours, I will be killed at the tournament. Sure. But I need to pass those processes, that I need to understand that is more about, as I say, quality instead of quantity. And it helps me, with the years and with experience to get to that point. And right now, I really appreciate all the person that been on my side, or even if they do something for me. And I already told with your family at that part, just to host me and to live with a family that open the doors for me, and the way they treat me, and know people on my trip, on my life, and put like a little coin there and keep a gamble for my game, as I can do it. I can see it like that. So it helps a lot, and it motivates me, and I really respect everybody that been on my side and in my corner and my team, and believe in me, because they help me. And I respect you and admire you a lot. You are really such a great racquetball player. And I know Sots is gonna cry right now, but I really like both of you, and respect a lot of your game and the way you grow racquetball too, because it's been a legacy for all of the racquetball players. I think every person gives something to this sport, and every time it keeps growing, and that's what I see the way racquetball it is right now for all of us.
Thank you.
Hermana, listen, we could go on and on all night. This has just been so awesome. I don't know. I don't want to end. And Ellie's texting me privately saying, hey, we can't stop, but we're over an hour right now. Just a couple of things. My brother texted me today, Ellie, and when he saw that you were going to be on, Paola, and he goes, in the history of the sport, everybody playing at their best in their prime, could anybody beat her? And I said, no, she's the best. I said, could somebody beat her one time? Sure, she could lose, but no, she's the best we've ever had, and not only that, but you're doing it off the court. And Paola, not many players in the history of our sport have done and continue to do what you're doing, and what you're doing for racquetball as a whole, but especially in Mexico. Don't stop that, because, hopefully that will overflow into other countries. You're doing so much nonstop every day. Racquetball thanks you, worldwide, and Mexico is very proud of you. And I'm going to ask you one more time, though. Is there a chance you could be president one day?
That is funny.
Is there a chance?
I can, but it's too much work, and I need to share something, but I was just thinking more in, sports and probably at the beauty or something. My dad's dream is for me to control, like to be the main girl of San Luis Potosí, which is governor or something. And I said that, I don't want to be like with all this security and all this pressure. And my dad is like, no, you can. You can do that and all that stuff. And, big words, being president, but you never know. It's, life change so easy. And if for some reason I was meant to be, I will be. I don't know. I just enjoying every step of my life. I just don't plan. As I say, every step I take or took already on my life, it means something because it's my passion and I love to do it. So at this part, it's like I can say no, I can say yes. God is the person that decides everything for us.
Well, with that, we are going to let you go. Thank you, Paola, so much for being here. Ellie and I are going to stay on for like another 5 minutes and talk about you if you want to pay attention and listen. So, but we're going to let you go and get back to Mika and the Yorkies. I followed the Yorkie page. So we will talk soon. Maybe this is just part one of how many parts we do this again and again.
For sure. Yeah.
But thank you. Saludos to the whole family. Okay. Say hello to the family.
Thank you. I really appreciate this interview was kind of nice, so people can know more what is behind the person, what is more about my life. Some of the people, even when I go with media and conference, they don't even know more about me until I start talking and I share all this history. So it's not easy to be number one. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of dedication. It's a lot of perseverance. Like, it's not like one day I decide to be number one and the next day I'm number one. No, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of, as I say, wins, victories, and losses that make me grow a lot and to learn where I want to be in the future. And it's been an awesome interview. So have a wonderful night. Take care. Health to all your families. And, I respect and love both of you. Okay.
Thank you, Paola. Thank you very much.
Talk to you soon. Text you in like 5 minutes. Thank you.
All right. Sounds good. All right. Bye-bye.
See you later. So Ellie, I mean, there she is, Scotty Mack, and it's just incredible, and I'm really glad that people got to hear a lot of other things she does.
Yeah.
And what she does off the court for racquetball in Mexico. I mean, the thought of having that here in the United States could truly bring our sport to a level that we've never seen before. She's the biggest star the sport has ever seen. But the thing for us is that it's in Mexico and it's not in the United States. And there's another thing that really comes to mind, and especially just seeing what goes on, is some of that overlooked, here because she's a woman, because she's in the LPRT and she's not, keen and dominating. And, is that possible? Like there's so many different ways to define a GOAT, right? Like, of course, she's not going to go out and beat Kane in a match or Cliff or yourself, but does what she's doing get overlooked just because she's in Mexico?
Absolutely. Because she's female, certainly plays a role. You're right. And it's tough to talk about it because, in these day and ages, you want everyone to have equality. And sometimes that does factor in. And for us, you and I have kind of admitted this things that we think about, that she is the greatest player of all time, male or female. And I had that in my notes here, that's the reality. Her success on every level, from amateur, country versus country, junior to professional, speaks volumes. And obviously Kane's doing it at the professional level, and yourself, Marty, Cliff, you guys are right on there. In the women's game, Limit Adams, Heather Mackay of the past, Rhonda Racich, Christy Van Hees for a shorter time, but Cheryl Godinez, Michelle Gould, but nobody has the presence that she does outside of the court. And her game in the court is all that as well. It's all of that. Nobody beats her. She hardly ever loses. So.
I just, for what I want really everybody to get, especially watching, and I know that, we're going to get a lot of international players watch and people from other countries, but in the States too, she's a rock star. I mean, she's literally, think of the most famous female athlete you can think of, from whatever country you are in. And that's who she is. It's a different level. She is that big. Like, I'm not joking. And I know you know it's true. She could be president one day. That's not a joke.
That's not a joke. Like, that's
serious.
And I hope
she
now
you saying
it a couple times makes me want her to be that, because then we interviewed the president before she became president. I don't know if Mexico, I don't know if Mexico, funny. I don't know if Mexico's had a female president or not yet.
I don't know.
I don't know that history. And, you know, and my great grandparents were born in Mexico. So, you know, I should know that history, but I don't. But are they ready for that? Because I hope they are, because someone like Paola is the perfect example of what you could say, you know, what a life she had on the court, what in her sport, in her school, in the education that she has in her background, and then transitioning that to, you know, marketing and being involved in bringing big events to Mexico, because those big events bring money to the cities that they're in, you know, tourism dollars. And that's only beginning, but possibly, you know, this Mexico is going to be a destination spot for a lot of racquetball players from United States and other countries. It has been for us. I mean, 20 years ago, we went to Chihuahua, we went to San Luis Potosi, we had great times. We knew about it. Yeah, we knew about it before others did. I mean, you know, we were lucky to be in that situation. And so, yeah, it's incredible. And also, you know, one of the things that comes to mind when she's talking about is, I mean, selfishly, I want her to do this in the United States.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's it's a problem, because that's too much for one person or one team to possibly have to do that. But, you know, that's what I feel like. Well, like, I want you to do this here and there. And that's a lot.
You know, we've spoke about this a lot, you know, with Head and Doug Ganem, and, you know, it just doesn't transfer over. Right. So it's unfortunate, but she's going to stay focused. She's incredible at what she's doing, you know, and she surrounds herself with good people, you know, and she's no dummy. She knows the ones that are
really
there.
Smart.
Yeah. She's smarter than, you know, people may realize, because they just see this great player, but what they don't see is her effect in an entire country. And to put it as close into perspective as I can, is that imagine her effect in Mexico is that of I would say, Serena Williams. Is that?
Yeah, you know, that's a big statement, because Serena's worldwide. But you're right. I mean, you're right.
No,
to
I mean,
a certain extent.
in the country,
I understand.
in her country.
I understand. Yeah, I mean,
you know?
You're right. You're on the money. I mean, it's like that. I mean, it eclipses some other great athletes we can name from the United States that are maybe not primetime professional, a Lindsey Vonn in skiing and something like that. Right, like she's bigger than a Lindsey Vonn is to the United States in Mexico by 20 times.
Exactly.
And Lindsey Vonn is huge. I mean, I follow Lindsey Vonn for a couple of different reasons, and she's, you know, she's a phenomenal athlete, right? But you know, and there's other ladies I could bring to mind, other guys. I mean, we don't have to keep this to a gender. I mean, it's just incredible.
It's not. I'm not even talking about the gender part of it. It's not, you know, I'm just saying that sometimes, you know, maybe because she doesn't play the IRT, you know, people lose sight of how great she is too as a player. But look at what she's doing off the court, right? So arguably, in the history of the world, in the history of our sport, in the world, any player, myself included, I don't think it comes close to what she's doing for racquetball as a sport, what she's doing in Mexico.
You know, the only one that really, you know, and you're such a personality, and you know, timing was different for Marty Hogan, and he's the only one for me that comes close in terms of that, because, you know, in the 70s and 80s, if you said anything about racquetball, you're going to hear the word Marty Hogan. People knew that because Wide World of Sports, battle of the superstars, or whatever they called that, battle of the sports superstars. He was a factor in those things, and he put racquetball even more on the map during its heyday. And, you know, and that's kind of a story of racquetball that we'll get to at some point and talk about, is that sports created in the late 60s, and, you know, by the early 80s, it's already seen its prime. And we're trying, you know, we're involved in the show because we want that to just evolve from there. Not, you know, maybe you can't go back to that feeling, but the world's so different now with all the social media and everything, and every way of possibly watching the sport itself, you know, not just being on television, but other capabilities. So Marty's the only one for me that comes close. And I don't know if it would translate the same. Paola's on a different level, and it's special to talk to her in this situation. It really is.
Yeah, it was a good one. Great comments. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We're definitely going to continue. I'm going to tell you this right now, everybody, and you will see a little bit about it, but we're going to have a special episode next Saturday of Beyond the Court. And then we're going to be on our regular time on Sunday. And I don't really want to tell you who's going to be on yet Saturday and Sunday, but I could tell you that there's no way we've ever had this many #1 world titles back to back to back. There's impossible. So it's going to be really cool. Next Saturday will be special episode. What is that? 17. Wow. Episode 17. And, thank you to everybody watching. We really appreciate it. We're going to see you next Sunday. Again, Tuesday's
Saturday and Sunday.
Next Saturday and Sunday, right? So don't forget, Tuesday is the election. Everybody be a good human. Don't worry about the outcome, unless you're going to shake one of those guys' hands and they're going to be sitting at your dinner table. Just do your thing. Be nice to everybody. Respect each other. Ellie and I probably aren't voting for the same guy, but guess what? We're still going to be best buddies the next day. And I'll see you on Saturday. Ellie, we'll see you on Saturday. Scotty Mac, thank you so much for joining. Share the feed. Send the video out. This was a great interview. Paola, thank you so much. And we'll see everybody Saturday night. Have a great night.